I have had horrible rulings. I've been treated very unfairly by this judge. Now, this judge is of Mexican heritage. I'm building a wall, okay? I'm building a wall. I am going to do very well with the Hispanics, the Mexicans.
So
everybody.
no Mexican judge could ever be involved in a case that involves you?
He's a member of a society where, very pro-Mexico, and that's fine. It's all fine. But I think he should recuse himself.
What an exchange that was. Donald Trump in the hot seat from Democrats and Republicans alike for continuing to attack a Mexican-American judge that many are just flat out calling racist. What Mr. Trump has been saying, that judge, U.S. District Judge Gonzalo Curiel, was born in Indiana but now serves the great state of California. So joining me now, former California Governor Gray Davis, who supports Hillary Clinton. Governor Davis, good morning.
Good morning, Brooke. How are you?
I am wonderful, but this is about you this morning, and we'll get to Hillary Clinton here momentarily, but just coming out of that soundbite, I just have to ask you, Trump continues to triple down on how he feels about this judge in your state, and Trump is calling on him to recuse himself. Do you think he should?
No, I do not. This judge, as you said, was born in Indiana. He's really an example of the American dream, the son of immigrant parents. He's now a federal judge. He's done absolutely nothing wrong. There's no reason to disqualify him. If there is a conflict in this case, Brooke, it is not of the judge's making, it is of Donald Trump's making, because he runs around at rallies talking about how biased this judge is. You know why he's doing that? He would rather have us talk about that, bad as it is, than talk about all the abuses and defrauding that went on at Trump University.
Well, I think I'm sure the Clinton camp is enjoying Trump doing a lot of this talking, right? Instead of their own campaign, although she's using some of it in his own words for ads. Let me ask you though about voters in California, Governor, and I have some numbers from your Secretary of State releasing this final report of voter registration. Voter rolls grew by almost 650,000 in the final 6 weeks of registration. 3 out of every 4 new voter a Democrat. Do you think those Dems specifically will translate into Hillary Dems or perhaps the Bernie or bust category?
I believe Hillary will win California. I know she will be the nominee and the next president of the United States. I mean, she has less than 30 votes to get to some 650 votes up Tuesday night. So she's going to be the nominee before California. But I know she wants to win California. I saw her when she was in L.A. recently. She's campaigning well, and there's a lot of enthusiasm. And she wants this to be the exclamation point, if you will, on her primary campaign and go into the fall with momentum.
Senator Sanders is not ready for the exclamation point. He's ready for the sort of ... at this moment. I mean, he's pointing out, listen, you can't, all the super delegates versus, of course, she could get pledged after tomorrow night. And how much of a, he's pledging to stay through Philadelphia. How much of a thorn in Hillary Clinton's campaign side will that be? The fact that if, in fact, he stays true to his promise and goes through Philadelphia, that they cannot fully pivot to Trump in November.
Well, Brooke, let's give Bernie his due. He's run a remarkable campaign, exceeded everyone's expectations. I'm sure he's exceeded his own. He's brought back alienated voters, expanded the Democratic base, and in the process made Hillary a better candidate. But he said all along the last thing he wants to see is Donald Trump as president. So I know after the primary votes are counted, he will do the right thing and begin to bring this party back together. So we go into the fall strong and united.
Governor, that, if and when history is made this week and if Hillary Clinton does clinch that number, that she will still need all those Democrats who have, been energized by this revolution that is the Bernie Sanders campaign. And just over the weekend, Bill Clinton was out and he was heckled by some of these Sanders supporters. And his response to them was, if I were them, I'd be screaming too, because they know they will be toast by Election Day. Is toast the right word?
I have great admiration for President Clinton. I thought he did a fantastic job. But look, we've all been in campaigns. I remember being on the other side of Hillary's campaign when she lost to then Senator Obama. We didn't feel good about it, but we all came around and we're very proud of the work that President Obama did. I'm confident the same thing will happen again this time because, look, you want to sit on your hands, you want to stay home, you're basically casting a vote for Donald Trump, and Bernie knows that and his followers know that. So give him his moment, let him run out the rest of this race. But I believe in my heart, there's no doubt he wants to stand side by Hillary at the convention and campaign with her in the fall and make sure that he can influence policy going forward.
Final question, Governor, and obviously we're biased as members of the media. We would like to be able to ask questions of the woman who would like to be the next president of the United States. She hadn't held a formal news conference since December 4th. It's frustrating. Why? Why is she not speaking out more?
I'm not the campaign spokesman, but she's campaigning.
Don't you think it would help her?
I think she's doing great. She gave a fantastic speech in San Diego last week. I think even Republican critics said that was a phenomenal speech, using Donald Trump's words against it. There's a lot at stake here, Brooke. We've never seen a campaign like this. This is like a reality TV show. And give Donald Trump his credit. Boy, he can change the subject like nobody on the planet Earth. When he didn't want to talk about Ted Cruz, he raised the question of his maybe not being able to vote because he was born in Canada. Larry Tribe of Harvard was talking about that. So this man is not going to be easy to beat. We have to come together to do it, but I'm confident that she will win and run a strong campaign.
Governor Davis, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. We'll be watching California come tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you.